Well, it's a common belief that your level of intelligence is synonymous with your projected success, but judging a person's worth solely on intellect can really be a roadblock to success.
Yeah, it actually overlooks life experiences that powerfully shape a person's intelligence beyond the book. So Soren Kaplan is the author of Experiential Intelligence. It explores how experiences combine with knowledge, mindsets, and abilities, and how they can be applied to both professional and personal goals. So Soren Kaplan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
All right, well, first off, can you explain a little bit more about what this kind of intelligence, experiential intelligence is, and how it can actually give you a competitive edge when you're in the workplace?
Sure thing. So we've known that IQ has existed for many years. That's your intellectual intelligence. And we've also heard things like maybe emotional intelligence. But in today's world, where things are changing faster than ever, and people have usually around 12 jobs in their career, you need to really look at something more than your intellect and maybe more than being in touch with your emotions as a success factor. And that's really looking at your breadth of life experience as well as work experience to understand how have your experiences helped shape how you think, your mindsets, as well as what you've been able to develop as abilities, kind of the higher order skills that you have, and just kind of the base knowledge and skills that you've got. And when you look at those things together, that's really, giving you kind of your formal street smarts as well, as you might consider kind of everyone having street smarts. How do we just package that up and understand it in a more formal way?
Okay, so interesting enough, major employers like Google, Tesla, well, they don't require a college degree for their applicants. So what are they using to measure the talent of these candidates?
Yeah, so the job requirements over the last few years have gone from around 51% requiring a college degree just for an interview down to about 44. So you've got a lot of companies like Google and Tesla, Hilton, others basically saying you no longer need a college degree. It's not a gatekeeping mechanism anymore. Now then the question is, well, what are we looking at here? So you've got Google, for example, has these career certificates, and they're tailored to specific types of skill sets and abilities that people are looking for around kind of a lot of emerging jobs and technology. But if you go through and you get a career certificate, you're sort of automatically qualified to apply for and try to get a job. So, what we're starting to see is kind of a bypassing of the traditional college degree and looking at certificates and looking at other types of experiences that might not be kind of the traditional experience that you might have. You did this exact job,
right.
in the previous time, and now that you're now qualified for it.
Well, let me ask you a question. How do you describe something like this, aside from talking about it? How do you put it on a resume, or do you, or is this something you do as part of an interview or an introduction letter?
Couple different ways. One is you always want to look at, if you're creating a resume, how do you abstract the skills that you have into real abilities that aren't just applicable to the specific job, but illustrate that you're going to be well positioned to get to the next job. So things like, different types of analysis or pattern recognition or understanding different types of, cultures and marketing, whatever it may be, you want to kind of elevate your abilities to that level. You also can illustrate that you've done things outside of the traditional norm, like certain types of volunteer work, certain types of internships that might not seem as relevant to the job, but that you can bridge back to talk about how what you gain from it is applicable. Those are just very simple ways that you can do that.
That would probably be really good for people who maybe have gaps in their employment,
Sure.
for taking care, of family members or things like that.
Yeah, that's really true. That's a good place to put that.
All right. Well, Soren, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right.